I had to steal from a priest. I needed his spray bottle.
Hello and welcome to the Rock Paper Shotgun electronic wireless show. It is episode 72 on the 20th of February. I'm Brendan and I have with me this week a John Walker.
Hello.
And a Matt Cox.
Hello.
Hello, both of ye. You sound good. Matt, you sound particularly clear and good.
Why, thank you. I tried very hard.
What about me?
John, you also sound A-OK, 100% fine.
Phew.
What are we talking about this week?
Wake up, Brendan, wake up! It's time for school.
We're talking about things that hurt your head or soothe your head depending on how much you enjoy them. Puzzles.
Yay! I love puzzles.
Alright.
I think we have a bit of a problem, and this is a hugely unsexy topic.
It's a very John-centric topic, which I didn't mean to say immediately after you said that, but... Oh well.
Fine! So it is.
It is a John-centric topic.
It's also an Alice B-centric topic.
That's fair.
And you might remember there used to be someone called Pip. Sadly,
Oh yeah.
Sadly, she's dead now, but in the olden days, she works for
PC Gamer now. Readers
No.
who don't know Pip,
Oh,
or listeners who don't know Pip, she's not actually dead. Don't worry.
If they don't know her, why would they be worried?
Every Pip's death diminishes me. That I'll carry on.
I think she lives on through me.
I think that's doubtful.
I mean, that's fair.
We're talking about puzzles. I say it's an unsexy topic because whenever, John, you come to describe some of the puzzle games that you play, I'm going to have to try and excite them up a bit.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Just dress them up so that they're not basically grids about filling in numbers.
Well, there are other types of puzzles.
There are, but we'll get on to that because I want you to talk about... You've played 2 puzzle games in like a week.
3 now.
3? Okay. So I want you to talk about these.
Okay, I shall. So the first one I played was a game called Globe Sweeper. So everyone's played Minesweeper, haven't they?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Minesweeper is a terrible puzzle game. It's quite fun to play, but it's rubbish because you have to guess, and that's no good. That's not how puzzles should work. That's not logical. So if you like the thrill of... I'm sexing this up for you now, Brendan.
Thank you.
If you like the thrill of treading on a mine and blowing up everything, then Minesweeper is the game for you. But if you like being able to deduce and use increasingly complicated techniques, which it seems in puzzle gaming are called advanced techniques, which just makes everyone sound like a git. But you can then put Minesweeper is no good. Globe Sweeper was an interesting idea. So it took the format of Minesweeper and put it on a sphere. It still involves guessing, but there's a lot less because you don't have edges. And it seems that when there's no edges, there's a lot more. The numbers influence one another a lot more. And then there's a sort of hexagonal, there's a squared, a cubed version, and best of all, there's a triangular version. Triangles will seemingly allow themselves to be knitted into a sphere. And,
is it a triangle, like a flat triangle?
Imagine just a football made of triangles instead of hexagons and squares.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah. And this is where it gets really interesting, because with triangles, it's very unlikely that you need to guess. The guy who made it said it's still possible, but much less likely. Anyway, so that's just a nice way of playing Minesweeper, but not being rubbish. And then underneath in the comments, brilliant people said, but what about this game? And what about this game? You should try these. And so I am. And the first one I tried was called Temetse. And Temetse is sort of... Hexels is the greatest puzzle game ever released on PC. We all agree on that. Matt, you agree?
I've played it and liked it, but not enough other puzzle games to be authoritative.
I'm going to have to ask you about Hexels separately, because I still don't know what that is.
So this is a game created by a man called Matthew Brown, who appeared from nowhere with this just utterly beautiful logic-based puzzle game, where you had hexagonal grids and simple rules and incredibly complicated interpretations of them to unpick these puzzles. There are 3. There's Hexels something else, and Hexels Infinite. And they get increasingly complicated, and by the 3rd, it's absolutely just beautiful. Oh, so beautiful. Such wonderful, difficult, brain-stretching puzzle games. But completely fair, no guessing, always possible without having to
Is it just
think 17 moves ahead, that sort of thing.
What are you actually doing in Hexels, though? Are you like filling in a grid?
You are.
It's a
so
lot
you're
like
marking.
Sudoku, right?
It is again closer to Minesweeper as a format. You are filling in cells and deleting other cells based on the numbers above, within, and around. And then with Hexels, it gets way more complicated. So you have numbers in brackets and numbers in curly brackets, and these have different rules applying to them.
I would say it's the middle ground. Like, those numbers immediately make it, because you're still doing the... Maybe I'm misremembering, but I thought you were still doing like the 1 to 9 thing?
Nothing like that.
Oh,
no.
well,
no.
Ignore me.
I shall.
Okay.
And so Hexels is as beautiful as it gets. Temetse takes the ideas from Hexels and then runs with them in really interesting directions, and so it makes grids out of different shapes. There are squares and triangles, hexagons, and then it applies its own rules, and it applies colours. Hooray for colours! And so with Hexels, and indeed with Temetse, and indeed with a game called Delete, which I've just started playing today. You use the number of missing mines or unshaded cells left. There's a number that counts down, and how many there are left is a big influence on how you approach the puzzle too. There's nothing sexy about describing this. This is rubbish. I'm so sorry to everyone listening. Temetse, and then I've just started playing Delete, which is a lot simpler. It's a sort of 3D version of... there's a game called Philippix, which is conceptus...
I love how you have to describe these puzzle games by constantly referring to another puzzle game down the line.
It's a giant family tree. Yeah. So there's a company called Conceptus who make the best logic-based puzzle games nowadays. And Philippix is one of theirs. You can get it on Android, and you can print PDFs off their website. Only a massive geek would have done that a couple of days ago. And so that's the idea, where you have in this situation you have a grid of squares and all the numbers are already revealed, and you have to fill the number of tiles around and including said number in that grid of 9. So if there's a 9, then all the tiles around it and including itself are filled. If there's a 1, then only 1 within those 9 cells is filled. And then you just create a pretty picture, by filling it all in. And Delete takes that idea but makes it 3D.
Oh God.
So there you go. These are my... I'm going to stop because this is very visual and very boring for a podcast.
Do any of these games have a little face that puts on sunglasses when you win?
Oh, that is a very good argument. No, none of them does.
Well, so only Minesweeper from now on then. Sorry.
That's it. So I adore puzzle games. I play puzzle games all the time. I have been on this podcast a number of times. I've never been on it while not playing a puzzle game on my phone at the same time. I have Philippix open in front of me right now.
John.
Yes.
Pay attention, would you?
I feel like I am.
Put your attention onto the podcast.
But that's
playing with numbers.
That's the thing for my weird old brain, is if I'm only doing one thing at a time, I find it harder to pay attention. If my brain is doing two things, then I pay attention.
Unreal.
That makes so little sense to me.
John, are you the kind of person then who plays Minesweeper? Because I have a cousin who plays Minesweeper, like rapid fire Minesweeper, where they seem to be playing it on some other setting, like legendary difficulty mode, where they just like speed run it and go through it as quickly as they can, and they die, like they get blown up a lot, but it's nothing to them. They just kind of move on and go speed run the next go.
See, I used to do that. Not that I would ever tell anyone the speed I got, I don't think. But yeah, the old Windows 95 version, I used to do that a lot. See if I could beat my fastest time. But that was when I was but a foolish child. And now I know Minesweeper is just guessing. I don't want to guess to win. That's no fun. Guessing involves no victory.
I don't think there's all that much guessing in Minesweeper.
Yeah, I'm afraid there is an awful lot of guessing in Minesweeper. It's incredibly unlikely in a regular standard game of Minesweeper that you wouldn't have to have at least a few guesses along the way. You'd have to get very lucky, as it happens, to not have guessing be part of the game.
Maybe I'm used to just playing on the tiny grid, where maybe there'd be like one guess at the start.
If you play a Minesweeper on easy, yes, pretty much you can win in one click on that mode.
Can you?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta get into Minesweeper.
You don't.
One-click victories.
I vaguely remember it being a thing that, like, the very first click in Minesweeper is always going to be safe, and they've done that.
Yes, that's right. So basically, it doesn't lay the mines until you click, and then it spreads them with the rule that wherever you clicked can't be one of them. Yeah, I love these things, and I generally, when I have my cave time, when I go off to the coffee shop, I take a bunch of puzzles. I take a puzzle book with me. See, I thought you were all into this, Matt, when I was recommending that puzzle book to you, and you were saying how nice it sounded.
Yeah, it's always something I like the idea of more than actually doing. I feel.
Yeah.
I have gotten into them in the past, and what I was saying, like exactly what I said was, I'd love to have that book just sort of lying around, so it's always there as an option, but I'd probably spend like 10 minutes on it, then get too confused and go and play Apex Legends.
So I think it's important to stress I'm also playing Far Cry New Dawn at the moment. This isn't like I haven't just fallen down a hole of being some puzzle loon. I like to mix it up, but
it's a definite type of puzzle game you're into, though.
It really is.
Things. It's like a number focused, figuring out the missing numbers game.
Figuring out the next move, sort of searching the grid, finding, if that 4 is next to that 1, then that means that 2 can't have 1 there, so therefore that 3 is gonna. Yeah, that sort of. I love getting into that whole mess. What I don't enjoy are the much more difficult puzzle games that Pip used to be so good at. What was that caterpillar-y one that people got excited about for a while?
They are caterpillars?
Something like that. I couldn't even do the first level of that game. It was so hard. My brain can't do that sort of thing. And also, all that awful Witness rubbish. I didn't like that game at all, which looks like it should be my perfect game.
I've never played The Witness. Have you played The Witness, Matt?
I have not.
No.
Oh, but Matt, you'd love all the COD philosophy.
I do like that part, but I don't like the way everyone described all the puzzles as mazes.
They're not.
And I'm sure there's more to them than that, but they are all like the same mazy format.
Well, there are many different formats that deliberately don't introduce themselves properly, and so it can feel smug about itself. And blah, blah, blah. Horrible game.
There's another type of puzzle game that you really dislike that I like a lot, and that is the programmy puzzle game.
Yes. Tell us why you love those, Brendan.
I like them because it is the closest I will ever get to being able to do programming properly, and it eases you in. Well, it doesn't ease you in so much, but it makes it at least a little bit possible for someone who has no idea how this stuff works to feel like a cool hacker.
I feel like if you can play those games, you could probably get your head around programming. The reason I don't like them is I can't get my head around programming, so I can't get my head around those games either.
Have you tried Magnum Opus? Because I think it's
Opus
definitely...
Magnum. Opus Magnum.
Oh god, yeah, of course. But yeah, that one, it's less explicitly coding. It's more like designing a little machine with, it's not numbers and maths. It's pistons that rotate to positions. It's sort of much easier to visualize. It's the only Zachtronics game I've made any sort of progress in.
That's interesting, because I was going to say I can't play Zachtronics games. They're just too much for my brain. Definitely
give Magnus Open a go. It eases you in, and it's that thing everyone says about it, where actually just finishing the level is, like, especially the early ones, it's not that hard. You can just sort of brute force your way through it. But then, if you want, you may not want that, but you can, hone it down and like minimize the number of parts you're using, or the space, or the time it takes your little machines to make the stuff they're making. Yeah. It's good stuff. Like, I got Exapunks and just ignored it. Like, I loved the idea of it, loaded it up, blinked at it a few times, and closed it and never went back.
Exapunks is definitely not the introductory Zachtronics games you want. Yeah, Opus Magnum is definitely the way to go. I agree. It is more about making a machine, and because you can see the machine and you can just press a button to make the machine play and move, you can see it almost immediately how it's going to move and work and what you've done wrong. You can figure it out just by looking at it, whereas those other ones with the code that you type, you have to think about it in the other language, which is difficult.
They also all have that appeal where it's you coming up with your own solution rather than finding an existing one.
Yeah.
Which is really neat.
Yeah. You should try.
I never realised that Zachtronics were the people who did Infiniminer.
Yeah.
They not chose them a fortune.
I didn't know that.
Huh. Yeah. Zach Barth did Infiniminer, and then Notch made what he called himself, a little Infiniminer clone, and then that took off. And yeah, but I we did an interview with Zach Barth a while back, and when I asked him about I don't know, I asked him about it, but he said he was very happy to just keep making his stupid little games. So I think he's fine. It doesn't bother him that much. And seeing how Notch's ended up doesn't seem very happy, so maybe it was a good thing.
Yes. Yes.
Anyway, Zachtronics games, Opus Magnum is the top one for sure.
I didn't realise he makes a game a year. It's pretty impressive.
I know.
Would you call Cultist Simulator a puzzle game? I was thinking of it in that way. Like, it's very different to everything we've talked about so far, but it's still the same. I mean, I wonder if you'd call it more of a mystery game than a puzzle game.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't have called it a puzzle game, but like for the same reason that I wouldn't call, I don't know, like I wouldn't call Her Story a puzzle game, or any of the, I wouldn't even call, like, I don't know, adventure games a puzzle game. Point and clicky stuff, because there's puzzles in them.
Everything you do is puzzles.
Yeah, there's puzzles in them, and they make up a big deal, like a big part of the thing, but they're not games about doing puzzles, are they?
What about Seventh Guest? Seventh Guest, I would say, is a puzzle game presented like an adventure game.
I don't know what that is.
Gosh, you're so young. Seventh Guest was one of the early CD-ROM games in the mid-90s. It was awful, colossally awful, but sold 1 billion copies because it had FMV actors in a super slidey CGI world. It was all very fancy looking for the time, but you were just slicing a cake, so it had the right number of tombstones on each slice, or moving chess pieces around after, C-list actors going, "Ooh, I'm very cross about this," to you after you'd solved the puzzle or whatever. It was followed up by 11th Hour. I can't believe you don't know these things.
I'm sorry.
I'm shocked.
Just too far in my Zachtronics. Okay, what about Obra Dinn? Do we count that as a puzzle game?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I'd say so. But I want to call loads of things puzzle games now.
I want to call
Invisible
Obra Dinn a
Ink.
mystery game.
Because I think it should be a puzzle game based on the fact that who was it? Someone on Eurogamer, was Christian Donlan, called it Murder Sudoku. And yeah, it's just the best description of the game.
Do you remember
You
those
are-
logic puzzles you used to get in kids' puzzle books where you had a grid that was hard to describe? It's sort of, and you'd have a row of names along the top and things along the side, and you had to work out which was which.
Like the Jingoshi lock in Dishonored 2.
If you say so.
It's exactly that. There's a big...
I've played Dishonored 2, I don't remember that.
Oh, it's great. There's a whole level where like the way you eventually need to go is behind this big door with this big fabled lock on it. And you can either like go to like one of two different areas and like deal with some gang conflict that's going on and get the answers that way, or you can just sit down in front of the door with a piece of paper and puzzle out the lock. And it's it's exactly what you're describing. It's
I think in the puzzle book world they call them logic puzzles, but yeah, I feel like Obra Dinn was more like a sort of 4-dimensional version of that.
I don't even know what the Jingoshi lock looks like. Is it like a physical padlock?
It is where you've got to like, it's figuring out where everybody sat at a dinner table. And I'd say like the difference between that and Obra Dinn is Obra Dinn has like the end bit of it, but it also has the searching bit at the start. Like you're presented with all the information you have. With you still need to figure out more from like the initial information you've got, but it's much less. It's more investigative in a way that this isn't at all.
It sounds like it's puzzling you just thinking about it. What other puzzle games do we like? Quickly.
Oh, I love anything with Picross in it. Mario Picross is genuinely one of the best examples of the form. That came out on Game Boy.
We can't have that here.
But there are many Picross games on the PC, and the best one, his name is escaping me. Let me find it.
Super Picross Challenge.
If that's what it should have been called, that's why they went wrong. I'm just going to find it.
Picross Legends.
It's called Pictopix. And you can get that on Steam, and it's absolutely fantastic.
Okay.
Nearly every board game is a kind of puzzle. I love that stuff.
They're also not allowed here.
Well, what about the digital version of Race for the Galaxy? That's real good.
RPS ran Cardboard Children column for years.
Yeah,
I know they are allowed here. I was just trying to move it along.
Can I tell you the worst puzzle in any adventure game ever?
Yes.
And there were many contenders for this. A lot of people would say the goat puzzle in Broken Soul, but this is worse. This was a Gabriel Knight 3.
Oh.
It's quite famous, this puzzle.
Go on.
Why are you sighing like that?
Because I've seen people playing the Gabriel Knight games. They're bad.
They are rubbish. Everyone thinks they're great, and they're Gabriel Knight 1's okay. Anyway, Gabriel Knight 3 was a shockingly bad game, and this is I will read from my original review written in 1833. It says, I had to steal from a priest. I needed his spray bottle. He turned his back for a few seconds, and I snatched it through his kitchen window. I know it sounds bad, but I had to get a moped, which involves having a moustache. So I had to put masking tape on a hole in a barn door so that when the cat ran through it, its fur would stick to the tape. That added to the glucose syrup from the dining room would make the perfect hairy face disguise. I needed the spray bottle to squirt the cat to make it go through the hole.
Oh.
This is like, imagine you were arrested for stealing the spray bottle from the priest, and you tried to explain to your arresting officer this thing. Like they couldn't charge you because you clearly, troubled, man. Oh. Sorry, okay, then I'll buy board games. All right. wouldn't say that they were all puzzle games, but I get what you mean.
They're not all puzzle games, but some of them are fairly explicitly puzzle games. So the one I was talking about, Race for the Galaxy, you're like building up a little tableau of space empire things, but then the core part of it is whenever you want to build something, you have to discard the plans that are already in your hand, which is just a great way of imbuing. Like, it's like a double decision you're making. It's like you're not just choosing what to build, you're explicitly sacrificing something else at the same time.
Opportunity cost, I think they call that.
Yeah, there's a word. There you are. Yeah, it's very explicitly puzzle-like. And I was thinking of that one because it's primarily thinking within your own head and not puzzling out what other people are thinking. But that's puzzling too.
Yeah, I'll count that. That counts.
Validation.
Yeah, there's a lot of puzzle games. What else have I got written down that we... Freeways? Did any of you play Freeways?
No.
Freeways is by the guy who made Desert Golfing.
Oh, yeah.
And it is a bit like Mini Metro in that but instead of drawing a real network, you're drawing a road network. And you see where all the cars will come in and where all the cars should go out. But you have to draw this road that's kind of like motorway intersections, and you have to draw bridges over other ones and then fix it so that it's efficient and it runs well. Because you can draw a nice looking road and a big, motorway interstate and junctions and stuff like that, and it can all look well. But then once you send the cars flying and they get stuck in a traffic jam, if there's ever a traffic jam where everything stops, then you lose the level. So you have to kind of try and figure out what's the best way to make all this traffic flow. It's really fun. It's really good.
Stressful. I'm looking at screenshots. It looks like a horrible job I would never be allowed to do.
It's good. It's really good. It's like the air traffic control games for iPad, except that you're ground traffic controlling cars. And once you set a route, they have to stick to it. But it's really good. I really liked it. What else have we got? All the usuals. Portal.
Oh yeah. It's funny we've been talking about this for half an hour and only just thought of Portal.
It's just a game that you take for granted, isn't it? Like, but it's definitely in there.
And Portal 2, I would say. Portal is a wonderful game. But Portal 2, I think, is where it becomes really quite genius in its puzzle design.
And the co-op puzzles in
Portal
2 in particular.
Gosh, yes. They're really good. I prefer, if I were to pick a favourite, I prefer the original just because of its storytelling and lack of Stephen Merchant, but
Portal 2 has a puzzle that puzzle spoilers for Portal 2, one of them, where you solve it by getting you and your partner to launch yourselves over a chasm at exactly the same time, so you do a chest bump in midair and fall onto a platform. So good.
Yeah, I really like that. The only thing is that you should play it through with someone who has also never played it through, because if you play it through with someone who's done it before, even years ago, they'll have that residual memory. I played it through with my friend Tom, and he had this memory, I think, of everything, and we were having a good time. It was just he had just forgotten enough so that we were still both figuring it out. But he was always just a little bit ahead of me in figuring things out, and I was like, "Oh, come on! I want to put down a portal and know what's happening first."
Yeah, yeah. Definitely don't play it with anyone that's like a lot smarter than you either.
Okay, that's what happens. It's not that he played it before. He's just more intelligent.
There's a great segue here into how we could talk about Portal's pinging system into Apex, but I couldn't do it without just explicitly saying that.
Portal has a pinging system where you put it on the wall, where you think a portal should go. Do you know what else has a pinging system, Matt?
What?
Apex Legends, the Battle Royale game that you've been playing that we can talk about when we talk about what we've been playing.
Nice.
There we go.
Do you know what my favourite bit of the podcast is, Brendan?
What is it?
It's that bit where we talk about what we've been playing.
That's also a good one.
I like the little music that comes before we talk about what we've been playing.
You mean this music?
Yes.
No, I meant the other one.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, get the other one out. Hang on.
We've both been playing and really liking Apex Legends, or Ape Legs,
Ape Legs, yeah.
as it shall now be referred to. It's a battle royale game from Respawn Entertainment, but the best one. I don't think a better one's going to be made in the next 5 years.
Why do you say that? And I saw you say that in your review, and that seems like a very bold claim. Did you think that like, how is someone else not going to come up with a better idea that you can't think of?
That is a possibility.
But I want to know why you're so confident about this. What is it about it that makes you this confident?
So to some extent, it's because, and this is a line that you kind of walk, but also just forget about, it is exactly the kind, it's exactly what I want to see in a game. It's got in a battle royale game, or any games in general. Like when I want my gunfights to involve lots of jumping about, lots of, mobility options, and this has bum sliding, it's got grappling hooks, it's got wall climbing, and I also want a layer of like tactical abilities, stuff that shapes the combat in the same way that Overwatch does. So you're thinking around what each individual combatant can do and responding to the threats they present. About, you're thinking about their cooldowns, you're thinking about your own team and the way your abilities can synergize. Sorry for the word. Yeah, so, and it is, it all of those ingredients are there, and then there's so much more. It's like idea after idea after idea, that the idea of playing a game without it, you actively feel its presence. So
we were playing last night, and so in Ape Legs, all the characters have these little skills and abilities, like you say. So someone can like put down a big shield, for example, or whatever. Your skill last night on the character that you were playing as was a dude who like sends out a little decoy man to run off. And I noticed that you would do this like very often whenever things would kick off and people would start shooting at us. You'd just like send your man out. But I would always forget that I had like little smoke grenades that it could help people with, and I wouldn't know when to use them. But then I would see like two of you running around the map and be like, oh, I feel like Matt knows what he's doing here. He'll probably carry the team. That's fine.
So we were playing with our friend Dan, who, it's funny you say that because Dan is so much better than me. Like I've always find this. Like I'm great at everything apart from the shooting. Like I'll always manage to get behind people and then I'll ambush them and they'll turn around and kill me. It's happened time and time again. I'm getting better, but it is galling. But yeah, like I think that's what I love. There's another element to it as well, which is how survivable everyone is. Partly because partly because of the terrain which you can run around, and partly because of their abilities. But also everyone just has more health, which means the classic thing in Plunk Bat is you walk along, you're having a good chat, a good loot, and then you get shot out of nowhere and the game ends, and that's it. That is, like, I would say about 2/3 of my games of Plunk Bat or PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds have ended that way. Whereas in Apex, hardly ever happens. There's always like something I could have done. There's always an escape route I didn't think of, or a way of using my ability that only after do I think, if only that. And sometimes it's like, I could have shot the men better, or shot the people better. But yeah, so often it feels like there are more options available to me.
You also get to revive your mates if they get knocked down and stuff, so...
Yeah. Do you want to explain how it works?
Well, it has the basic kind of pick your pal up from being knocked down that we've seen since like Left 4 Dead, so long as they don't bleed out. But it also has, if they're if they're like shot in the head while they're in this state and die on the ground, you could still get to their body and like pick up a little, they call it a banner, don't they? You basically pick up their smartphone and you run
soul.
their soul embedded in a little smartphone.
Yep.
And then you run to like this green machine that there are a few of these green machines throughout the map, and then you plug in their smartphone and you say, "I want my old friend back, please." And your friend comes in a spaceship from the sky and can join again. You guys brought me back to life last night once, and I was very happy because it
Which
meant...
is always such a good moment for everyone involved. Like, I talked to my review about how those moments let you feel heroic, and that's part of the immediate allure. But they've also got this great effect where, which we were talking about last night, where it lets you drop into like really spicy locations or places where loads of people are going to be. And in other battle royale games, that's fun, but also kind of sucks because often like one person in your squad will die in that initial fight, and then they're just watching everybody else play for 20 minutes or whatever. And this avoids that.
Yeah. No.
It's really neat.
Okay, so can I ask questions as an outsider?
Yes.
So I've never played Plunkbat, but I know I've watched it and I know how it works. But it looks just a bit too daunting and a bit too grumpy for me. But I played a bit of Fortnite.
Oh.
And what I liked about it is just playing. I don't like multiplayer games because of letting other people down. So I like playing multiplayer games on my own. So Fortnite seemed like a good match. But then it was all just building and crafting, and these sort of super-powered children who could build perfect forts in like frighteningly fast. While I'm going, which key is it for wood? And so oh dear. So I quite liked sort of hiding around in the background and seeing how long I could last just by hiding like a wimp. But all the building stuff really put me off. So what really puts me off about Ape Legs is that I have to team up with two other people to let down all the time. Now, is that the case? Is there ever going to be a solo mode, or is it? Why won't I be scared of the other two people hating me if I play with them?
No, you probably will be.
Oh, okay, there we go. That's fine. I'll just get more time for other games. Data
miners, if you trust them, have found stuff in the code that apparently mentions a single player, not a single player, but a solo and a duo mode. So that's a possibility, but they haven't talked about it at all. In a way, I'd be surprised if they didn't.
It's interesting what you say about how you like to hide and stuff like that, John. That's my favourite part of any battle royale game, is just not getting into fights and trying to avoid people finding you. It makes me a very bad battle royale player because you're supposed to be aggressive. Like, the aggressive people will usually win out over passive people, almost always.
Well, like they'll probably win totally, but the passive people will always get into the top 10.
But that's what I mean. Like, I love being the second person. Just getting to the second place. You're gonna die, but I hid in a bush long enough, and god damn if that didn't give me a thrill.
I did that a lot in Plunkbat. It's funny actually how it's changed the way I play, because it is a much faster paced thing. Games go on a little less for a little less time, and you're also just running around so much faster that you are like getting into encounter after encounter. And it is true that I think it's less tense in a way because of that. And so, the attraction of sitting out in a bush, which is absolutely something I did in Plunkbat, just, hiding in a building for as long as I could, I really don't do at all in Ape Legs. I want to be running about.
Presumably it's not as fun to hide in the bush with two other people as well.
Yeah, that's the other problem. Like, your mates are not going to hide in a bush, and they'll just go off and die, and then you really will have no chance because it'll just be one of you against three other people.
Yeah. But I'm enjoying it. I like it, and that says a lot, I think, for how much fun it is. Because I'm not really that big into the battle royales, but I like this one. I like that you can get a robot with the grappling hook and a little man who can see footprints where people have been.
Person.
It's a person, a non-gender specific person in a gas mask with a crow.
Yep. And
you can see footprints in the ground. And it'll say, like, 20 seconds ago someone was here. And it makes you look around like, paranoid and frightened at what might be here. I love those little things.
It's the other great thing we haven't mentioned about it yet, which is of all of the characters, there's only one white man.
A lot of people are enjoying that. Yep.
Oh, so much.
I'm enjoying that a lot of people are just realising, oh, okay, so it was racist before when all the other games only featured like one token non-white person. Oh, okay. That's good. I'm glad they've all come to that realisation now.
We got it, yeah.
Yeah, that's sorted.
Cool.
What else have we been playing?
Far Cry.
Have you been playing anything apart from the puzzle games, John?
Did you talk Far Cry last week? I can't remember.
Don't think so, no.
Well, we should talk about that, because Matt's been playing Far Cry 2.
Yeah.
Not Far Cry 2.
Far Cry 5 New Dawn 2.
Yes, the one.
Do you like it?
I do like it, but then I like Far Cry games. And
Yeah.
so it fulfills that role of being a Far Cry game quite successfully.
Job done.
Yeah, but it also manages... Yeah, it's also not been a douchebag yet, which is nice. Which is very unusual for Far Cry games.
What do you mean?
Like, I haven't had a character I'm supposed to like come up and be absolutely obnoxious to me. Everyone seems quite nice, which is really lovely. It's really strange experience in a Far Cry game not to just go, oh no, I'm playing the world's most colossal prick. Which is really lovely.
How far are you?
I haven't got a double jump yet. Hang on, I'm going to look at the map for you right now. Let me see. So I've only... Oh, when you zoom out too far on the map, it then fills it in with rubbish. I'm only in the bottom left-hand corner still. I've gone quite a way. I've got 5 bases recovered. Oh, I had 6, but I restarted the pantry on the 3rd difficulty, and I'm not ready for that. So they've got that one back now. Yeah. Who do I need to rescue for a double jump?
Oh God, you've got to rescue someone. You've got to go on a big boat trip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a while off, but
I love how you explained that. You got to go on a big boat trip. It's not like a gunfight boat trip. It's just a ferry down
tour,
like a tourist ferry down the river in a post-apocalyptic scenario.
Yeah, but on drugs with magic spirit wolves.
Oh, cool. For Far Cry game.
Yeah.
Do you remember in Far Cry 5 when you were trapped in a county but equipped with multiple aeroplanes and helicopters? And no one ever really addressed why you wouldn't just go. But it's good in this game because there you can't go because of all the radiation. They finally figured out how to make an island out of Montana.
Like any invisible walls technique is always going to be weak to me. It's like you can't get out of this. Why? It's just mountains. You can't get out of mountains. You can't get out of this. It's radiation. I
really like the invisible wall in Sunset Overdrive, which is a wall with invisible wall written on it.
I like the treasure hunts in New Dawn. They're puzzles, aren't they? I suppose.
Is that the kind of treasure hunt where you get a piece of paper that has like kind of a picture, a little bit of like a little snap of where it will be, but you don't quite know?
Grief, thank goodness, no. It's just a little, normally it's just a case of working out how to get to a room packed with picky uppable items.
I do like how they frame those though. Like, they've always got a little story to them. So
yes.
There's one I remember where it's like somebody's trained a bear to eat his keys or something, and then you go up to, then you realize you've got to go up to like a little church tower and ring a bell to summon the bear, and then kill the bear and get its keys.
And then some of them are just basically. See, here's my dirty secret. I quite liked the tower climbing puzzles in the Far Cry games.
Yeah, I quite like them.
And so what they've done with lots of the treasure hunting is just put them underground. Quite clever. So you've got to work out how to go down rather than up.
I hadn't thought of it that way, but yeah, you're right.
So that's quite fun, and it's just nice. I'm playing as a smiley-faced, friendly young lady in this game, which is unusual for Far Cry to start with. I care about helping my little town get better, and so that's nice. I actually feel invested in succeeding for once.
I can't say I did care about anybody.
Is that because you're a sociopath, though?
No, it's just. I mean, I wonder. It's interesting actually, because it's probably because I was going into it with, or at least partly because I was going into it with absolutely no expectations about engaging with it. And,
Yeah.
Whenever I see a person, it's a person that's going to talk at me before I get to do the fun Far Cry things. Which, in fairness, they came up with this, I think they added this in Far Cry 5, where, like, anything apart from the main story where they're talking to you, like, they'll be giving this really long explanation about, some kidnapping.
I'm hitting escape right now on you, Matt. I'm hitting escape.
Yeah, and then they sort of like, oh, okay, then fine, just go over there and blow the things up and steal the boats.
Yep,
it's great.
Which is excellent. Although I think about writing about this actually. I think the Nana character is a really missed opportunity in this game. How brilliant would it have been if she were a really sweet old granny who was just especially good with a sniper rifle?
Ah, yes.
And so rather than being a wacky, oh, I'm a wacky old character,
yes.
She was just this really sweet old lady who said, "Oh, well done, dear. That was very good. It was so lovely."
And then picks up a M16 and starts firing it off.
Yeah, but that's who she. So that's kind of what they were going for. She is a granny with a sniper rifle, but she's a bit too like, "Hoo, there's some naughty young boys over here," and it's all played for goofs.
I don't know if I'd be happier if they changed her to be like that, or happier if they changed the mission you need to do to unlock her to be less miserable.
Oh, it was rubbish, wasn't it? It was just
so bad.
Just a bunch of target practice and then a fight.
Yeah, and there's one, I wonder how many times it took you to do it, but there's one where you've got to shoot a load of balloons as they rise into the air, and you can only afford to miss like once, and then it resets you, and it doesn't even reset you to the start. You've got to jog up a little power every time. Oh.
Well, Matt, I have to tell you, I did it first time because I'm brilliant.
Well, yeah, there we are.
I did it first time.
Conclusive proof.
Shall we jog on?
Sure. If we're having a little break, can I go for a wee-wee?
You can if you want.
Thanks, I drank too much juice.
While John goes for a wee-wee, shall I tell you what I've been playing, Matt?
Sure.
I'm going to tell you Yakuza Kiwami is a good action movie in a game.
Are you sick of the punching? Because I got sick of the punching in the 3 hours of Yakuza I played.
See, around that mark, like around the 2 or 3 hour mark, I was like, if this is the game, I am out because of the punching and the amount of it, and it was just punching, very, very repetitive. But then things kept happening that were making me laugh, and I was like, do you know what? I will press these punch and kick buttons as much as needed to get to the next laugh, and there were many more after that, and I was very happy. And also, you get like a little skill tree that opens up new types of punching, so if you're kind of bored with the punching that's needed to take things out, you can just figure out how to like snap their shoulders and twist their neck and kick them through a wall, and that'll make you a bit happier.
I'm back.
Hello, John.
Hello.
It's fine. I had finished talking about Yakuza basically, so we don't need to worry too much about that.
Tell you what we should worry about is this low battery thing that just appeared.
Oh, bloody hell. Let's crack on.
Let's talk about, let's see what our readers have said about puzzle games, their favourite puzzle games. We asked them, what is your favourite puzzle game? Why do you like to hurt your brain with it? So let's see what people said. Jenny James says, Hex sales 100%. I find puzzle games super relaxing, and sometimes I want to play stuff without concentrating on a story. Puzzle games is always my go-to for that mood.
Woohoo!
Anything made by Zachtronics, says Miguel Ribeiro. Yep. Got a couple of portals.
A Maat says Space Chem, who's talking Zachtronics. It's not just the puzzles that are unique and interesting, but that there are 2 ways to play. You can play to solve or play to optimize. Then when you're done, you can play to optimize some more.
Yep, I love that about them.
Oh, Talos Principle, yes, Flung Plemomble.
Who said that?
At 5 minutes, who is currently calling themselves Flung Plemomble.
Flung Plemomble.
Yeah, the Talos Principle.
Why did I not use this podcast as an opportunity to talk about the amazing philosophy puzzle game?
Exactly.
It's too late now, Matt.
It is.
Flumble, Clawomble, Womble has already
Yeah.
spoken about it.
I want to play it again. I'm going to play it again. I've forgotten all the puzzles, so I can play it again.
It'd be interesting because I did it in the first year of my philosophy degree. I'd love to play it after. But
Yes.
I've forgotten all my philosophy now.
It'll all come back to you. It's written by Tom thingy name,
Tom thingy name.
who wrote for the Amnesia games. He's brilliant.
What else have people said? Astrid, who's done some work for us in the past, says Tetris. Every mistake you make is your own, which makes the odd chance when you stack your tetraminos in just the right way all the most satisfying. I don't know if I count Tetris as a puzzle game. Is it? I guess what else would it be?
I think everything is puzzles to some degree.
Super hot, says Jason Coles, especially in VR. It turns a frenetic FPS into a delicate balance of target priority. I could go with that. I suppose if I can go with super hot, I can go with Tetris. I've got a couple of people saying Lumines as well, or Lumines. Laurent Victorino and Jank Scalibur both say Lumines or Lumines. I don't know how you say that.
Turka says Antichamber was fun, as well as other things being fun that we've already mentioned. But Antichamber was very fun. It's one that got you to constantly go against your expectations. It was more thinking outside of the box.
Don't say anything outside the box.
I should get like a sound effect for words and phrases that are banned. At any time, like when you said synergy earlier, Matt, I could have rang the little bell.
I apologise for synergy. I won't apologise for thinking outside.
Nothing suggests that someone's not thinking outside the box more than using the phrase thinking outside the box.
I mean, that's true. But it does instantly convey the opposite of filling in numbers in grids, because there aren't any grids.
Thinking outside of the number-based grid, Derpkovsky says The Witness, because I can also soothe my brain between the hurting with the nice soothing views that the island provides.
Nah.
Whoa, such a dismissive noise from John.
Horrible game. I want to know about Everett Kayser's Sherlock, says at the Wild Craze, because it's pure logic and deduction, can even print out a puzzle and bring a pencil. I'm Googling this.
Johann Hals says, Portal, the story is what everyone remembers, but the brain teasing is perfectly paced and executed. Johann also says, also that chess guy's probably going to respond and today he'll have a good point for once. Charles today hasn't said chess, so you can have chess today, Johann, thank you. Any more?
I think that's all the puzzles.
Okay. Cool. Well done, everyone.
Thanks. Thank you.
You've solved our podcast.
I just want to click on the next podcast then and carry on solving that one.
If you have any topic suggestions or questions that you want to ask us, you can do that by emailing podcast@rockpapershotgun.com. We've gotten a few things in the past week. We have seen them. They are good, but I'm saving them. Because they weren't really relevant to this podcast. But yeah, good work, people. Keep sending things. You can find Rock Paper Shotgun on Twitter and Facebook at Rock Paper Shot. You can find us on YouTube at the same at Rock Paper Shot. We are doing our podcast on YouTube, so there will be a link to that in this article eventually, I think. But we're still testing out and trying it. So last week is on YouTube. This week will be soon at some point. We're also on Spotify. That's good. John and Matt are on Twitter. What's your Twitter, John?
At Botherer.
What's your Twitter, Matt?
At Coccyx, which is COCCYX.
I'm at
X. Damn it, I forgot the extra X.
I'm at Brendy_C. Your name is impossible, Matt. You need to change your Twitter handle. I tried to add you on Origin last night so we could play Yip Legs together. It took most of the evening.
That's why I spelt it just then badly.
Thank you very much for listening to our puzzle chat. And we will see you next time. Thank you, Matt, and thank you, John.
Love you, bye!
You. Bye!
Bye!
Brendy, I hate to say this, but I haven't caught anything you've said over the past minute because you turned into a robot getting sucked into hell. Sucked into hell. Sucked into hell. Sucked into hell. Sucked into